Welcome back to NightStoryHQ, where shadows speak and the truth hides in the corners of the mind. Tonight, we bring you a chilling tale of shattered memories, stolen identities, and the haunting question: who are we, if not our memories? Settle in, dim the lights, and prepare to journey into a mind unraveling. Ethan Reed always believed he lived a quiet, predictable life. A data analyst in Chicago, he commuted on the same train every day, drank his morning coffee from the same cafe, and called his mother every Sunday at 8 p.m. sharp. His apartment was filled with picture frames, photos of him hiking in Yosemite, celebrating his 30th birthday, smiling beside a woman he couldn't remember dating, but somehow knew had broken his heart. He remembered those moments clearly. But memories, as Ethan would soon learn, are fragile things. It started subtly. First, it was a song. While browsing the aisles of a local bookstore one afternoon, a soft melody began playing overhead, a lullaby on a toy piano, delicate and haunting. The moment he heard it, Ethan froze. A wave of emotion surged through him: fear, warmth, and something else. Recognition. But he couldn't place it. He asked the store clerk about the music, but she shrugged. "Just part of a random playlist," she said. "Been running for hours. You're the first to notice." That night, Ethan dreamt of a house he didn't recognize, a Victorian-style home nestled among evergreens. In the dream, he was a child, sitting cross-legged on a rug, listening to the lullaby playing from an old phonograph. A woman with green eyes kissed his forehead and whispered, "Never forget who you are." When Ethan awoke, his heart pounded in his chest. He had never lived in a Victorian house. He had no memory of that woman, and yet, it felt real. Too real. Chapter 1. The cracks appear. Over the following weeks, the dreams became more frequent and more vivid. In one, he was attending a funeral, standing beside a man who looked just like him. In another, he was speaking fluent Russian, though he'd never studied the language. In yet another, he was locked in a sterile white room, wires running from his temples to a machine pulsing with lights. During the day, he'd catch glimpses of himself reflected in windows. Except sometimes, it wasn't him staring back. The same face, yes, but a different posture, a different look in the eyes, like the man in the reflection was watching him. Ethan grew obsessed. He started journaling every dream, every déjà vu. He pulled old yearbooks, searched online for any trace of inconsistencies in his past. Then one night, while digging through a shoebox of childhood keepsakes in his closet, he found something that didn't belong: a small brass key wrapped in cloth, and a photo, aged, faded, and torn at the edges. The photo showed him as a teenager, standing in front of the same Victorian house from his dreams. The woman with green eyes stood beside him. On the back, in slanted cursive, were the words, "Ethan," before they changed everything. Chapter 2. A House That Shouldn't Exist. Ethan took a week off work and began his search. It took days, hours spent scouring historical records and Google Earth. Finally, he found it. The house from the photo. It stood on the outskirts of a forgotten town in Oregon called Marrow Ridge, a place that barely appeared on maps. When Ethan arrived, the town looked abandoned. A main street of shuttered windows and boarded doors. No gas stations, no grocery stores, no people. And yet, the house was there. Weathered, peeling, but unmistakable. The key fit perfectly into the front door. Inside, dust covered everything. But on the mantel sat a photo of Ethan and the green-eyed woman again, this time with a man in a lab coat standing beside them. Ethan wandered the rooms, searching for answers. In a locked drawer upstairs, he found files, folders labeled with names, diagrams of brains, timelines, chemical charts, and a file marked simply, "Subject, Ethan R., Phase 3, Integration. Inside were pages of notes. Subject shows high cognitive acceptance of memory grafting. Parental replacement successful. Emotional anchoring maintained. Occasional memory drift. Recommend immediate reinforcement or partial wipe. Ethan staggered back, trembling. The documents detailed everything. His job, his apartment, even the heartbreak he'd experienced. It had all been constructed, engineered, a synthetic identity. But why? And by whom? Chapter 3, The Institute. Among the papers, Ethan found a name, the Calden Institute of Cognitive Research. The name triggered something deep inside, an image of blinding lights, a man's voice whispering, "We'll take care of you, Ethan. You won't remember any of this." He drove straight to Portland, where the institute was supposedly located. But it didn't appear in any phone books, no listings, no website, nothing. Until he tried accessing the Wi-Fi at a local coffee shop. One of the private networks caught his eye. CICR admin. He followed the signal to a building labeled only Midvale Holdings. From the outside, it looked like any corporate office. Inside, it was something else entirely. After slipping through a side entrance used by a delivery worker, Ethan navigated the sterile white halls until he found an unmarked door with a biometric scanner. Miraculously, or perhaps by design, it opened at his touch. The room beyond was filled with machines. Screens blinked with brainwave patterns. Shelves held rows of vials labeled with strange codes. On one wall, a massive screen displayed dozens of headshots. One of them was his. Next to it, status, drifted, priority, erase, and reintegrate. Then came the voice. "You shouldn't be here, Ethan." He turned. A man in a gray suit stood behind him, clipboard in hand. "But I suppose it was only a matter of time. Some minds reject the graft, no matter how advanced we get." Ethan demanded answers. The man sighed. "You were part of Project Lazarus, designed to test the limits of neural rewriting, memory insertion, identity mapping. You were our success story, until your subconscious began resisting." "I'm not who I think I am?" Ethan asked. "No, but that doesn't mean your experiences weren't real. Pain, love, joy, they were all yours, just not from the life you were born into." "Then who was I?" The man looked at him solemnly. "You volunteered. You asked us to erase the pain of your former life. You chose this. We simply gave you what you wanted." Chapter 4. The Fracture. The revelation broke him. Ethan stumbled from the building, memories swirling like a storm. He couldn't distinguish what was real, what had been implanted, or what he had chosen to forget. He checked into a motel under a false name. For weeks, he stayed there, writing, meditating, piecing together fragments. He remembered a wife, a daughter, a fire, screams. He remembered begging for the pain to stop. He remembered signing the consent form. But he also remembered Yosemite, the heartbreak, the train rides, all engineered, but no less meaningful. Ethan now stood between two versions of himself, the man he had been and the man he had become. He couldn't return to either. What do you do when your memories betray you? Ethan's story is a harrowing look into the fragility of identity. We often define ourselves by our past, by the places we've been, the people we've loved, the pain we've endured. But what if that past was a fabrication? Would you still be you? The science behind memory manipulation isn't purely fiction. Experimental studies in neuroplasticity, memory erasure, and synthetic memory creation are already underway in labs around the world. Companies are exploring ways to edit traumatic memories. What starts as therapy could one day become control. Ethan's tale reminds us, our memories may not always be reliable, but they are powerful. They shape us, guide us, and sometimes deceive us. Thank you for joining us tonight on Night Story HQ. If Ethan's story made you question your own memories, you're not alone. Look around. Are your memories truly yours? Or were they placed there long ago by someone or something else? Until next time, stay curious, stay aware, and above all, never forget who you are. Good night.